Doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm from boxingscene.com. AJ, how does Usyk compare from a skill and a technical standpoint to maybe anyone you've ever fought? So as a professional anyway, anyone you fought?
From a skill and technical standpoint.
Is he the best, I guess, is what I'm asking you.
To be honest, it's all about stages of your career, i.e., when I was fighting Klitschko at that stage, he was the best of my career. I'm quite experienced now, but he's good. Let's give credit where credit's due. You know, in boxing we do have big egos, and we try to suppress people, but let's lift him up and say he is good. He's won the Olympics, he's won the World Championships as an amateur, he's done the undisputed thing. So his accolades would say he is one of the best fighters that I'm fighting in my career so far.
And AJ, my second question for you is, what did you think of his performance against Derek Chisora, and how close of a fight did you see that being?
I was actually ringside for that one. Really good performance, you know. I've been sparring Derek for many years. You know, it's easy to watch people from the outside, but it's only until you get in there with them, you know what they're about. Derek's a really good fighter, throwback fighter, as we've seen, like hence why they probably wanted to fight Derek, give Usyk a good challenge, and Derek probably wanted the challenge as well. And it actually turned out to be a good 12-round fight. But ultimately, Derek is a completely different fighter than I am. So I can't take too much away from that. But in terms of what it looked like a good fight for Usyk, a rough and tough fight, and he come out on top, and that's what's put him in this position, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go to Dan next. Dan Raphael.
Hello, Anthony. Dan Raphael here
Dan?
from. Doing great, Anthony. Great to talk to you. I'm writing about you
bro.
here for the question for you though is, going back a few months ago, obviously everybody thought you were going to be fighting Tyson Fury in August in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed championship, and I just wondered how did you handle or how hard was it, let's say, to change gears, going from thinking you're fighting Fury for undisputed for maybe a 9-figure payday to fighting Usyk in moving it back now to the end of September in a fight that's still important, but not as obviously as big for less money. How did you handle that or process that or deal with that?
Time's the most important thing with that situation. Like, time is the best healer. So if I would have felt any emotions, for example, over the period of time I've had, I get over it. You know, you need a couple of days to readjust. We had sparring partners sparring for the Fury fight, so I had to readjust. And then for Usyk to readjust, it was just setting the date right, having the right amount of time to prepare. And that's what the blessing's been is. We had in the back of our minds that this might happen because we understand. I don't want to say anything negative, but I understand how a Fury operates. Can set a date, can pull out of a fight, say he's going to fight you, doesn't fight you. So in the back of my mind, we had one southpaw in training. So in a way, it wasn't too bad, and I had enough time to prepare. So I've learned how things operate, and I make sure I always have myself prepared for anything in this game.
All right, so now you're going to fight the fight on Saturday. Obviously, you expect to be victorious, and I wonder, 2 weeks later, he is fighting unless that fight something happens there. But he's fighting 2 weeks later against Wilder in their third fight. I wonder if you could give me your point of view on how you think that fight goes. Will you be watching that? And do you have a rooting interest that you'd like to see Fury win so you can eventually make the fight, or maybe you have interest in down the road with Wilder?
So we both have important fights of our career.
Yeah, of course.
Both 50-50 fights as well, which is really good for boxing at the end of the day. So inevitably, I've got a rematch clause. If the worst happens, I'm not too sure what Fury's situation is. So if I lose, I'm fighting Usyk again. The undisputed gets put on hold. If I win, I'll fight either one of them. If Fury wins, I'll fight Fury. If Wilder wins, I'll fight Wilder. If Fury wins and doesn't take the fight with me because on his hit list, he said that he wants to fight, I think he said he wants to fight Dylan first or Chisora first or something like that, then I'll fight Wilder. Honestly, Dan, there's no problem with challenging any fighter in the heavyweight division. It doesn't always mean that they have to have a belt either. If they're a good opponent and they're going to give me a good challenge, and each fighter has to motivate you. They have to make you want to get better during training camp. So either one of those guys are good fighters, both been champions. Fury's going to make his first title defense in 2 weeks. Wilder's actually defended the belt a few times, so they're both good fighters, both 50-50 in terms of where they are in their careers. And I'll fight any of them anytime, win, lose, or draw in 2 weeks for them. Any one of them that's ready, I'll fight anyone.
All right, Anthony, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday.
Respect. Well, respect.
Let's go to Michael next. Michael, you're on mute if you're thinking about talking. Okay, let's go to Morgan then.
Perfect. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. AJ, Morgan Campbell from the New York Times. Good to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Morgan.
Perfect. Real quick, so because you mentioned it, Dan, that each person you fight has to motivate you. What is it about Usyk that motivates you? How does he motivate you?
When you got a southpaw in front of you, so someone who's completely different. So there is that going back to learning. Learning your foot positioning, hand positioning. I have my notepad. I write down what I've learned each session. I go back, I read it, study it, because I want to improve when I'm sparring guys. So yeah, that motivation to improve during camp has actually helped because I'm fighting a southpaw. So yeah, that's been a big motivation throughout training, is learning how to defeat a southpaw. The natural way is to say, throw your backhand and come back with a left hook. But there's so many other ways that you can slay a southpaw. So yeah, I've done some really good studying. I've been invested in this camp, and that's important for a fighter to be invested in his training, because it's tough, but ultimately when he's invested, he wants to train, he wants to improve. You're at a good place with a fighter.
Okay, perfect. You mentioned the value of learning, and like for a lot of American fans, like the first time they really saw, like, not boxing fans, but just casual fans, the first time they saw you was the first Ruiz fight, and that fight went how it went. So my question is, what is the biggest thing you learned as a result of that fight?
With the Ruiz fight?
Yeah.
Never give up. Just keep on going. Like life sometimes hits you, but as I said earlier, to Dan, like, time is the best healer. With a matter of time, I'm back on my feet. And what will be, will be. If I'm meant to be at the top, I'll remain at the top. And I managed to climb myself up. Andy's still, fighting for his position in the heavyweight division again. And I've managed to be at the top of the division again. So we just continue on this journey at the end of the day. I've had so many great wins. So in my mind, I can't let one loss kind of derail and discourage me. No way.
All right, I appreciate it, AJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's go to Adam next.
Hey, AJ, Adam Capro from Complex, man. Good to catch up with you again.
You too.
All right, real quick. I know you said in some of the past interviews, or one I was just checking out recently, that you have, quote, your own reasons for why you took that loss against Andy. And that quote, they're my reasons and I made them right. I'm wondering if you can, kind of expand upon that and what that actually means.
Like, everyone's got a reason. Everyone's got a reason. Some people can understand because they can relate. Others people don't understand because they're personal. But I have a reason why I won certain fights. I could actually explain to you reasons of how I prepared and why I got the victory. And I have a reason as to why I took my loss. And that's what I meant by it. But like, I never sit down and I never kind of say, look, guys, this is the reason why I won. I done, 200 rounds of sparring. I ran 100 miles in 2 weeks, and no one's interested. It's just whether you win or you lose. So I realized when I lost is I have my reasons, but same way no one's interested when I win as to my reasons why I won. Let me not try and make it a reason as why I lost. Let me just keep on rolling on to the next fight.
Yeah, understood. Makes sense. And then second question I have for you is, I know some in the UK will kind of classify you as the biggest draw in the sport, and you can, obviously attest that to the incredible crowds that you attract when stuff is normalized. Us on the other side of the hemisphere may say Canelo with his following, but I'm just kind of curious, where do you think you stack up in that kind of debate?
One thing I know is that I'm very hardworking. So whether it's about like crowds, I'm not really doing it for that. I just know that I put boxing on my back and I've dedicated myself to promote this sport well outside of the boxing forum. So whether 60,000 people want to come or 6,000 people want to come, I just know that that's a replication of my hard work outside of boxing. So I don't want to say that I'm the face or this person's the face and I'm number 4, 5 or number 3 or 2. All I care about is I'm just working hard while I'm boxing, because these are the best days of my life and it will all be done one day.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
And Stephen, up next, please. Thanks, mate.
Hi, AJ. It's Steve from Associated Press. Thanks for your time. You've fought once since the start of 2020. So how do you look at that? Is that a good thing in terms of your longevity and your physical well-being? Or do you feel it's kind of robbed you of two prime years of your career?
It's a great question. Great question. However, I feel like a fighter, sometimes the novice trains harder than the professional, because when a fighter's fighting, twice a year, 3 times a year, they're in long camps. So after a fight, they tend to go on holiday, deload. They're out the gym for a bit because they know they've got a tough camp coming up. So for me, having this time out not the gym, but having this time out of the ring has given me a lot of time in the gym. So I've been training like I'm a novice, like I've got that hunger, and I'm in the gym practicing, working. Since I fought last year, December the 12th, I think, and I was actually in the gym like Christmas Day, New Year's Day, I was in the gym. I've just been on it. So I haven't actually, there's nothing like fighting, but I haven't been like resting where I've been like, yeah, this is perfect. I've got time out of the gym. I've actually really worked on improving, and it takes a long time to make small improvements in boxing. So I've had the time, I've developed over this period. So in a way, it's not been a bad thing. It's actually helped me in terms of where I need to be with a fighter like Usyk coming up.
Second question, just on Usyk. Do you actually think this fight might have come too soon for him? Do you reckon he needed a few more fights at heavyweight before he fought someone like you, who's so good?
I wouldn't say so, but when I look at, like, they talk about Holyfield a lot. Holyfield had, I think he had six warm-up fights before he fought Buster Douglas for the title. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it was either 6 or 9 fights. It's either one way or the 9 the other way. It was one of the two. So he had 6 fights, which is important because you can't rush in this heavyweight division. But then again, Holyfield was 25 when he came up to the heavyweight division, so he had a bit more time to develop. Usyk's like 34, so he hasn't got as much time to have 6 warm-up fights and get ready. They want it now. But that's managers, right? Managers will give you these opportunities and your handlers have to say, look, whether you're ready or they make the decision you're not, and they think he's ready. So people ask me, like, you're fighting really good fighters, your resume is good. Let's give credit to Oleksandr Usyk as well, because I wouldn't want to be in the ring with me. If I was Oleksandr Usyk, I'll be looking across the ring. I swear to God, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with someone like me. I'm very competitive, and good luck to him Saturday.
Thanks for your time. Good luck Saturday.
Cheers.
Let's try Michael again if your computer's working. I know you just emailed me.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks. Appreciate that. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good. Thanks. One of Usyk's handlers said that he's now grown into being a full-fledged heavyweight. Is that even possible? Do you buy that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he has. It takes time. He's fought heavyweights before. A full-fledged heavyweight doesn't mean weighing like, 200 kilograms or 300 pounds. It's just like if you can if you can physically handle them in sparring, like like one does 4 rounds, you know, you've done 4 rounds, another one gets in and another one gets in. Can you still push and shove heavyweights throughout 12 rounds when they're fresh? So if he's doing that in training, then they must see that, you know, he's well conditioned and he can handle the pressure of heavyweights. So if they must know exactly how he's getting on in training. So I can't go against what they're saying.
You watched his fights, obviously, his 2 heavyweight fights. Did he look like a small heavyweight? Did he look like a guy who had any problems whatsoever with the size issue?
Not really. No, he didn't actually. He didn't. He got 1 stoppage, and against Chisora, you know, Chisora, if you look at his fights with Parker, his fight with 2 fights with Dylan, his fights, let's just say those 2 to say the least, they've gone the distance, bar 1 with Dylan, but you know,
I think we lost you for a sec there, Anthony, for like 10 seconds. Yeah, all good, mate.
So where did you lose me on that?
I think you were talking about Usyk's previous, his fight with Chaz Weatherspoon, and then going on to talking about his fight with Chisora.
So I just said that he stopped Chaz, which was a good showing. It's good. That's like stopping a full-fledged heavyweight big guy. And his fight with Chisora was a tough one, but then I look at a lot of fights. Chisora's in and he gives a lot of guys problems, but he overcame the 12 rounds, got the decision. And in boxing, you know, we put that behind us and he fights me on Saturday. And that's what everyone's interested in, right? So well done to him. You've got to get past certain fights, no matter how they look, so you can always move on in boxing.
Great, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Cool, we've got a few minutes left, so just randomly we'll go through the order we went through before, just 1 question each, and then we've got a hard stop at 1:30. So thanks all for joining. But Keith, 1 more question from you, and then we'll go to Dan, and then we'll go to Adam, and then we'll probably have to round up there. Thanks all.
Great, thanks, Sam. Anthony, I know you think it's a 50-50 fight with Wilder and Fury. I know you don't have to pick a winner, but if you had to, who do you think will win and why?
If I had to, I don't know. Shall I? I'm not actually too bothered. But look, because you've asked the question, let's go with Wilder because he seems obsessed. He seems like he really wants it. He seems really, really focused on the task at head. So, you know, a focused man is a dangerous man and he's focused. So yeah, I think Wilder might get the decision.
But by decision?
Actually, no, it won't be. It has to be knockout. One of them will knock each other out.
Okay. Anthony, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm up. Hey, Sam, thank you.
Thanks,
Anthony, one follow-up for you. You know, I read, obviously you saw the announcement yesterday that you signed your career-long contract extension with Matchroom with Eddie. I wondered, when you were doing that, in your mind, are you thinking how much longer do you like that you'd want that career to last? And I was trying to understand, like, how does a career-long contract work? At some point, there's got to be an end to it.
I was thinking the same thing.
So what were you thinking? Is it like you're 32 years old? Is it another 5 years or 10 years or indefinite? Like, where do you think? I mean,
Holyfield, we're gonna beat Holyfield. Now I don't know. When I was signing it, I thought, bloody hell, for what have I done?
but how does that work though? Usually a contract has an end term to it, an end date?
What they're saying, like as you said, like 5 more years. Yeah, let's say I got 5 more years, which will make me. I'll be 37 going on 38. So as I signed it so in 5 years' time, my career will come to an end and I'll be 38 next month. So, you know, that's a long, good career as a heavyweight. So what that kind of means, what for me is like, I'm going to sign a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal with Eddie, and then I'm probably gonna negotiate and sign again. Look, in boxing, the most important people are the broadcasters. That's the most important people in boxing. That's where you have to, the promoters, obviously you have to be serious. You have to look at your contract. Me and Eddie have got a great business relationship. They're a great team. Matchroom Boxing, I'm going to say, hands down the best, in my opinion. Now, with broadcasters, that's where it gets sticky. I wouldn't sign a 5-year deal with a broadcaster, if I'm honest with you.
So when you signed your deal with Eddie in the career extension, I mean, it's pretty common knowledge that the fight that you have on Saturday is at least the last on your contract with Sky. I guess you'd be free agent. You know, he's got his whole business with DAZN. Where do you go broadcast-wise?
Complete. So the good thing is we make it clear is I have separate broadcast deals. My deal with Eddie, broadcasters aren't involved with my deal with the promotional company, which is a blessing. When I first started, it had to be like that. If I was with Frank Warren, I'd have to be on BT. If I'm with Eddie, I have to be on Sky, for example. But now we have to look at the marketplace, and Eddie has to, and so Matchroom have to do what's best by me as their client, and 258 management work in conjunction with Matchroom Sports to make sure that they deliver me the best deal. So it's quite an interesting place to be, actually. And as you said, because Eddie's aligned, huh?
I said it's a really great place to be.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I do get your point, because if Matchroom is my promoter and they're with DAZN, and let's say I sign with Sky, there might be a conflict. But maybe I might be my own voice. Maybe I might promote myself and be like Floyd Mayweather. I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss. So Eddie Hearn might become like an Al Heyman to me. Do you know what I mean?
So the main point though is that you could, because of the way you just described it, you could, after this fight, be on DAZN in the UK, or you could be on Sky in the UK.
Yeah,
depending on
I could be BT. Honestly, the options are endless. Yeah, so it's I'm not actually tied down with the promoter. I'm more looking at where I'm at broadcasting wise now.
Okay, appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
After the fight, we look at all of that.
Very good.
Last question from Adam, and then we'll wrap up. Thanks, AJ, for your time.
All right, real quick, AJ, you just brought up Floyd. So if the boxing gods do bless us with a Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight, who's the A side?
We had a 50-50 deal on the table to get it over the line initially. I'm going to say that because that's just showing you I want the fight. But I know when it comes to boxing in the UK, for example, and maybe not America, but you talk about Saudi Arabia and other countries, we do good business. And when it comes to title defenses, because Fury's not defended his title. When it comes to, you look at my last 10 opponents, his last 10 opponents, all that stuff. Come on, man. I have to be the A side. There's no question about it, but I'm not going to get into that. I would never let that hold up a fight at the end of the day. There's enough prize money on the table for everyone to eat. So as much as I want to take 90% of the pot, unfortunately I can't. And I got to split it to get the fight. So be it.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Brilliant. Thanks all. Thank you, AJ, for joining us. Really appreciate your time. To everyone on the call, I will send you the recording in its entirety after via WeTransfer. So watch out for that. But thanks all for joining. Appreciate your patience. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to just email me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.